A tourist visiting a national park in Thailand happens upon a young woman from China sprawled out near the bottom of a cliff, having clearly tumbled from the top. He's not sure if she's dead or alive, but soon learns that she is miraculously alive. The tourist calls for help, which soon arrives and transports the woman and her husband, who's standing at a distance watching, to the hospital. At the hospital, police begin to question the account of this woman having fallen from the cliff, as she and her husband report, but with no witnesses. They rely on what they're told until the woman's time alone with an interpreter changes everything. Welcome back to Case Closed, where we detail cases and criminals from their very beginning until well after other reporting ends. Today we'll be talking about the unfathomable case of the pregnant woman who was pushed off a cliff by her ruthless, cold-blooded husband, and he nearly got away with it. Wang Nan grown up in China. She finished school and became the wealthy businesswoman trading goods between China and Thailand. She was at the height of her success, having accumulated significant wealth and several real estate properties. Then in 2017, 30-year-old Wang met the man of her dreams. 31-year-old Yu Xiaodong was incredibly charming. They began dating, and he showered Wang with gifts, wrote her poems, and took her on romantic dates. She recalled, every morning he knocked at my door and prepared different kinds of breakfast for me. When we hung out, he always paid the bill, for I wanted to. He appeared to not only have good taste, but also to be financially independent. Wang fell for him instantly, and the two were married within 2 short months, but very early on in the marriage, problems began to surface. Wang already knew Thaddeus was from a poor family, but what she didn't know and soon found out was that he had a gambling addiction, was thousands of dollars in debt, and spent 8 years in prison for robbery. As a result of his criminal record, he was unable to get a job. So he remained unemployed throughout their marriage and stayed home playing video games while Wang supported the couple financially. Yu would regularly pressure Wang for money to pay off his gambling debts and wanted to help her husband. She paid off half of his 2 million yuan gambling debt, approximately $319. It was after that their relationship began to deteriorate, but despite their problems, 2 years into their marriage, Wang learned that she was pregnant. She was elated. She continued her successful trading ventures, and in June of 2019, the couple traveled from their home in China's southeastern Jiangsu province to Thailand on a business trip to buy Thai products to sell in China. While in Thailand, Yu took Wang to several national parks and seemed to be interested in all their cliffs. Wang found that odd, since Yu had an extreme fear of heights. One of the parks that Yu wanted to visit was Pha Tam National Park, which was famous for its majestic rock formations. They headed to the park on June 9, 2019. And that is when the course of her life would change forever. A tourist who was also visiting Pha Tam Park encounters Wang critically wounded on a trail at the bottom of nearly 30 minutes, but miraculously she was still alive. She'd fallen 34 meters or 111 feet from the cliff above, and her unborn child were able to survive. The deadly fall after her fall was softened by several trees. Emergency personnel and officers were quickly called onto the scene. They were immediately suspicious of Yu, noticing that he was standing at quite a distance from the scene as the emergency crew tended to his wife. They interviewed him to learn what happened. The official story at the time, as reported the next day in the Bangkok Post, was that it was an accident, that Yu left his wife to go use the bathroom, and when he returned his wife wasn't there. Their car to get his phone and call her. But she didn't answer, so he assumed that she left some other way, and Yu began driving away until he noticed the ambulance speeding along the road. He feared the worst and followed the ambulance, soon learning that his wife had fallen from the cliff. He surmised to police that his wife had passed out from being pregnant and fallen off the cliff. He was rushed to the hospital, where they determined that she had broken 17 bones, including in her arm, thigh, collarbone, and knees. She required over 200 stitches, and 100 steel nails were inserted into her body, and because of the large amounts of medications that they needed to administer to one, her baby would ultimately not survive. While lying fallen into a coma early on, she soon regained consciousness and was aware of the story that Yu had told them about her passing out and fallen off the cliff. Wang knew otherwise, but she was helpless. She couldn't explain what really happened. Because of the Thai hospital, no one understood Mandarin Chinese, and more importantly, you never left her side, but she tried anyway. She mustered up as much strength as she could and managed to cry out, "Why did you do this to me?" You told her to shut up, and he threatened to finish the job if she did not shut her mouth. She could divulge the truth too, and most likely finished the job he had started without witnesses, but hospital staff stopped him. Eventually Wang was transported to a different hospital where Yu was not allowed to visit her. There she had access to an interpreter and was finally able to share that Yu tried to kill her. The police were immediately called, and finally on her 5th day in the hospital, she was able to give a full account of the incident to police. It supported their suspicion of foul play based on Yu's distant behavior at the scene, as well as an interpreter overhearing Wang's desperate first scream, asking Yu why he did this to her. Went to the cliff's viewing platform, and as they neared the edge of the platform, Yu grabbed Wang's waist and romantically hugged her from behind. Then Yu, positioning his hand on her back, told her to go to hell, then pushed her to what he was certain would be her death. Wang told officers that she could not tell him her story earlier because Yu would not leave her side. Yu was arrested 2 days later, charged with attempted murder. Once he was arrested, it was discovered that his gambling debts were nearly double when he had claimed. Yu pleaded not guilty during his trial. Prosecutors argued that he tried to kill Wang to cash in on her $25 million life insurance policy to pay off his gambling debts. Wang was also convinced that he was motivated by the prospect of inheriting part of both her real estate properties and her life savings. View the death penalty, considering that Yu not only killed their unborn baby, but that he caused her life-changing injuries. He ruined her health, her career, her future, her life. Yu was convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment in order to pay 1 million yuan in compensation, approximately $170,000. For months Wang was confined to a wheelchair. She had to move in with her parents so they could care for her. She underwent numerous surgeries and spent the past 4 years undergoing intense physical therapy. The difficult and painful journey paid off when in April of 2023, 35-year-old Wang was able to walk unassisted for the first time in 4 years. Without the use of a walker or a cane, Wang shared her experience on the Chinese social media platform. Yu Xiaodong appealed. It resulted in a second trial, which instead of a standard trial was simply a review of documents. The result was the judge finding that there was not enough evidence to support intentional murder, and in 2021 he changed the conviction to attempted manslaughter instead and reduced Yu's sentence to just 10 years. It was a huge blow for Wang, who was reminded of the tape recording used in court of a conversation between her and Yu where Yu had admitted to deliberately pushing her. Wang continued to appeal to the Royal Court of Thailand, and just last month in June of 2023 they convicted Yu of attempted murder and handed down a final sentence of 33 years. In a cruel gesture by the courts, Wang remained trapped in her marriage because a Chinese court refused to grant her a divorce until Yu's legal appeal against the attempted murder conviction was concluded with the ruling from the Royal Court finally handed down. Hopefully her divorce can now be granted. We agree with one of the people who posted a comment on Wang's social media account that man is not a husband but a devil. We're so impressed by Wang's determination to overcome such drastic injuries, and we take a note from her experience. If ever in a problematic relationship, don't go anywhere that has cliffs. What are your thoughts about this case? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like how we presented this case, please hit like for us and definitely hit subscribe so you never miss a single video.